HBCU? A HBCU is any historically black college or university that was established before 1964.
What is the importance of the HBCU? The importance of the HBCU is in the African American community as schools first gave black students the opportunity to obtain higher education. HBCUs are open to everyone.
Hello, my name is Morgan Cruz, and I am a teacher and a writer, and I'm also the author of The College Project.
The College Project by Morgan Cruz, illustrated by Jerome T. White. It was like any other Friday of any other week when Ms. Williams cleared her throat to get the attention of the class. "Okay, everyone," Ms. Williams said, "we have a project to complete." The entire class groaned. "We're celebrating College Week," she continued, "and I want each of you to research a college that interests you. And if you don't have one in mind, ask your parents or someone who's graduated from college in your family. You'll present your work at the beginning of next week." Although Kalani knew Miss Williams meant well, she felt sick. She didn't like homework, especially over the weekend. But that wasn't the worst part. "What's wrong, Kalani?" asked Marcus. "I can't do the assignment," Kalani whispered. "Why not?" he asked. "No one in my family has gone to college," she admitted. "I'm going to fail this project." Her secret was out, and at that moment, she really wanted to disappear. "I have an idea," Marcus said. "Why don't you come to my house for dinner? My mom and dad know a lot about college. They can probably help you." Little did Kalani know that Mr. and Mrs. Jones graduated from very unique colleges. They were alumni of historically black colleges and universities. "They're called HBCUs," said Mr. Jones. "They were created during a time when African Americans weren't able to go to college due to our skin color." "But if I go to an HBCU, can I do anything? What if I wanted to be an astronaut? Ronald McNair was an astronaut, and he went to an HBCU. What if I wanted to be a writer?" "You could be like Toni Morrison," Mrs. Jones replied, "or Nika Giovanni, or Langston Hughes. You could be an actor, a dancer, or a scientist too. The sky's the limit." The next day, Marcus called Kalani bright and early. "My mom and dad are taking me to an HBCU college fair," he said. "You can come too." Kalani had never been to a college fair before. It sounded very much like the county fair that had come to town a few months ago. "Will there be roller coasters and cotton candy and prizes?" "It's not that type of fair," said Marcus. "I mean, it's still fun, but you'll have to see. Hurry up and get ready. We're on the way." Kalani rushed to brush her teeth. She clipped her best and brightest bow in her hair. She tried on 3 outfits before she found the perfect one because she wanted to look her best for her first college fair. The fair was a sea of people, more people than Kalani had ever seen in one place. Marcus was eager to show her everything. She enjoyed learning about the great marching bands, artists, and activists from HBCUs. She felt a sense of pride in knowing how Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., one of her favorite heroes, had graduated from an HBCU. Everyone was talking, laughing, and welcoming at all the tables. Being at the college fair felt like being part of a big family. When it came time for her to complete her project for school, Kalani knew exactly what she wanted to do. She found color paper, markers, scissors, and glue. She was determined to create a masterpiece. At school, Kalani grew nervous watching everyone present. Finally, it was her turn. Her hands felt a little sweaty, and her knees shook a little, but she swallowed her fear as she stood up in front of the class. "Well, I didn't learn about just one school. I learned about HBCUs, and I did my whole project on them." Kalani told the class everything she could remember from the college fair, like how HBCUs were instrumental in the civil rights movement, and how numerous inventors, professional athletes, military generals, doctors, lawyers, teachers, researchers, politicians, and business owners graduated from HBCUs. When she finished, a student raised his hand. "I heard HBCUs aren't good schools, and that people only go to them because they can't get into better schools." For a moment, Kalani felt very small. She didn't know how to respond as the class began to chatter. Miss Williams stepped forward. "I graduated from an HBCU." Do you know that the only reason why we're able to sit in this classroom together is because of HBCUs? She looked at each of her students. Thurgood Marshall was a lawyer who won a Supreme Court case that allowed children of all colors to go to school together. He was a graduate of 2 HBCUs. The people who go to HBCUs are some of the best and brightest leaders. They changed history. They changed their communities, and they changed the world. What an excellent presentation, Kalani. Kalani smiled. She beamed. She bloomed. No one in Kalani's family had ever graduated from college, but Kalani planned to be the first. However, she wouldn't graduate from just any college. She would graduate from an HBCU.
When did you first realize you wanted to be a writer?
Now, what made me realize that I wanted to be a writer was probably around the 3rd grade. I had a really interesting story about a helicopter crash. Don't know why, but about these 3rd graders who got into like a helicopter crash, and I really just wanted to write it. And it really just kind of bloomed from there. So every day almost I found myself writing something, whether it be writing in my journal, whether it be writing on a computer, whether it be a short story, whether it be a poem. I just saw a story in everything. Someone could mention something and I would say, oh, that'll be something good to write about. Or I could see something on TV and I'd be like, oh, I can write that probably a little bit better. And so really it just kind of went from there. Now, when did I want to write children's books? Would be probably about a couple of years ago when I saw that there were a lot of children's books that were available for people to read, but a lot of those books did not have Black and brown people, and I wanted to see more diversity in children's literature, which is how the college project and my other books came along.
What inspired you to write a book about HBCUs?
What inspired me to write about HBCUs, it kind of goes back into not seeing that representation on the shelves. And not only that, I am also a graduate of an HBCU. I graduated from Howard University twice. I understand that HBCUs are really the epitome of American history. There are so many people, so many great people that have graduated from HBCUs. We have many Black teachers, many Black doctors, lawyers, judges, military people. I mean, you can go to an HBCU and become almost anything. And so being a graduate of an HBCU, I want to share that message that historically Black colleges are a wonderful place to get to know your culture, get to know yourself, get to meet a diverse group of Black people, Black and brown people in this world.
What challenges did you face while writing the college project, and how did you overcome that challenge?
The challenges I faced when writing the college project were really based on finding the right artist. I have a wonderful illustrator. His name is Jerome T. White, who is also an author as well. He is an incredible painter, and I was blessed and lucky enough to have him for this book. So I found my illustrator actually on social media. I put a word out saying I was looking for someone with incredible talent, and Jerome answered the call, and he produced a wonderful piece of work. He's one of the best artists I probably know. And another challenge was actually the funding of creating the college project, because it costs money when it comes to writing books, especially if you publish them independently, meaning that I don't have like a Random House book publisher behind me. I'm doing this on my own. So making sure to have that funding, getting people to support, those are the biggest things when it comes to publishing a children's book. I was able to overcome that one by kind of social media as well. I did have some family help me out. I also work, that helped as well. But you know, social media, when it comes to asking people to be a part of a cause, a mission, when it comes to allowing other people to be a part of that story, if people like you enough, if people like the story enough, sometimes they'll give you money for it. So that was how I was able to overcome that challenge.
How long does it take you to write a book?
Technically, it took me a couple of years to write the book, but that is only because I started maybe in 2017 when I first started the idea of the book, and I just wrote it down, but I left it alone for a couple of years, and I picked it back up maybe about 3 years ago, something along those lines, and I said, you know what, let's finish this work. And from that point on, it probably took me a couple of weeks to actually write the whole story out and to finalize the story. So if you want to include everything from when I first got the idea to when it finally got published, I would probably say 5 years. But honestly, I don't count that time beforehand when I put the book down. I want to count when I picked it back up. And I would say it probably took about maybe 2 months in order for me to actually finish the entire story. And it took maybe about 6 to 7 months for me to, well, no, it took about maybe a year for it to get published, because I had to give the book to Jerome White for him to illustrate, and we were collaborating on that, and for him to paint it and send me files and to make that come to life. So all in all, yeah, it did take a little while, but it got done.
What advice would you give to a young person who wants to become an author?
What advice would I give to a young person who wants to be an author or a writer? Keep writing. Don't listen to anybody else. Don't let anybody try to talk you out your dream. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't be what you want to be. There are plenty of people, plenty of creative people who are making money with their work. It is possible, but you have to work at it. That's really it. I mean, of course, yeah, you need the backing, you need the funding, but you just got to keep at it. You never know who could pick your book up or what could happen. It could take just one person to see your work, and boom, you're a bestseller. But keep writing. That's what makes you a writer. Books being published doesn't make you a writer. Having a certain money in your bank account doesn't make you a writer. Writing, or being a writer, requires writing. So if you're writing every day, you're a writer. If you wrote a book, you're an author. Now, if you want to be a published author or a published writer, that's a different conversation. However, the best advice, keep writing. You got this. Peace, y'all.
A for Alabama State University, established in 1867 in Montgomery, Alabama. B, Bethune-Cookman University, established in 1904 in Daytona Beach, Florida.
C, Clark Atlanta University, established in 1865 in Atlanta, Georgia.
Dillard University, established in 1869 in New Orleans, Louisiana.
E, for Edward Waters College, established in 1866 in Jacksonville, Florida. Handle your business.
F is for Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, also known as FAMU, established on October the 3rd, 1887 in Tallahassee, Florida.
G for the Grambling State University, established November 1st, 1901 in Grambling, Louisiana.
H for Hampton University, established in 1868 in Hampton, Virginia.
H for Howard University, the real HU, established in 1867, Washington, D.C.
Who is the real HU?
I
for Interdenominational Theological Center, established in 1958 in Atlanta, Georgia.
J is for Jarvis Christian College, home of the Bulldogs.
K for Kentucky State University, established in 1866 in Frankfort, Kentucky. L for Lincoln University, established January 14, 1866 in Jefferson City, Missouri.
M for Miles College, established in 1898 in Fairfield, Alabama.
N for North Carolina Central University, established July 5, 1910 in Durham, North Carolina. O for Oakwood University, established 1896 in Huntsville, Alabama. P for Paul Quinn College, established April 4th, 1872 in Dallas, Texas. Q. Question. Have you ever thought about attending an HBCU? R for Rusk College, established 1866 in Holy Springs, Mississippi, where tomorrow's leaders are students today.
S is for Spelman College, established in 1880 in Atlanta, Georgia. Spelman College, a choice to change the world.
T is for Tennessee State University, established in 1912 in Nashville, Tennessee.
U is for the University of the Virgin Islands in St. Thomas and St. Croix, established in 1962.
V for Voorhees College, established in 1924 in Denmark, South Carolina. Voorhees College. Begin, believe, become. W for Wilberforce University, established in 1856 in Wilberforce, Ohio.
X for Xavier University of Louisiana, established in 1925 in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Y and Z. I can't think of any Y or Z schools. It's fine.